Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook, but it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
Hey, my friends, welcome to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Glad you're here. If this is your first time tuning in, again, welcome. My name is Robert A. Lane. I am an audiobook coach and producer, and I specialize in helping nonfiction authors. If you're a nonfiction author, I can definitely help you by turning your great book into an audiobook that you, as the author, narrate yourself. Because again, nobody can speak your story and tell your story the way that you intend it to be heard. And you, as the author, have lived it and breathed it and experienced it. And of course, you wrote the book. There's no other person who's more qualified than you to narrate your own book. So as an audiobook coach and producer, I have a program which is called Your Book, Your Voice, and it is an audiobook coaching program where I take you through the process of setting up your own recording space and teaching you the fine art of how to do a great narration and then getting you published, most importantly on the AAA, which is Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And if there are other distribution platforms that you want to be published on, I can definitely help you with that as well through the program. And by the end of the 6-week program, that's right, only 6 weeks, you'll have your audiobook narrated by you, recorded, and published by the end of the 6-week program. So it's a great way to take your book to the next level. It's a great way to expand yourself into a market that just continues to be growing and expanding, and you really need to be part of that. And it's a great addition to the products that you offer as part of your author brand. So if you have any interest in talking to me more one-on-one about the program and telling me more about your book, then there's one simple action step that you need to take. And that is just to schedule an audiobook consultation call with me. All right. Book your call. So we're putting up a graphic on the screen for those of you who can see the video portion of the podcast. And the link that's on there is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Okay, that's bit.ly, bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. All right, so go ahead and book your call. That is my personal calendar link, and you will speak with me directly, and I'll give you more information and more details about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program and get you enrolled, because hey, you can have your book done and ready for publication in 6 weeks. It doesn't take 6 years or 3 months or 10 months or whatever it is. You can get it done and you really can do it. Even if you don't have any speaking experience, or maybe you're shy about talking into a microphone, don't worry. We help you through that. That's all part of the process. All right. So anyway, I do want to, again, welcome you to the show. And we have a really good topic to talk about. On the last podcast, we talked about creating your author brand, what it is that helps you create, and what are the components that make up your author brand. And today's topic is asking this question: are you cheapening your author brand? So we're going to dive into that and look into things that some people do, a lot of people do actually, that maybe they don't think it's a detriment to their business and to their author brand, but in the big picture, it can be, and it will be. So we're going to talk about some of these things. And you, of course, since you are tuning in to the live stream right here, the live podcast stream on the Bold Brave TV network, you are more than welcome to join us and comment and or even call in if you'd like. You can always give us a call. The number is up there on the screen. And that is, of course, 1-866-451-1454. 451. And we'd love to talk with you. You can share what you are doing as an author, as a nonfiction author, and tell me about your books. And again, if you have any questions about the audiobook world, you're at the right place. This is where you need to be, okay? That phone number again is 1-866-451-1451 to join the show live. Of course, if you're listening to the replay, oh well, but you can catch us on the next live podcast next week. All right, so are you cheapening your author brand? Are you cheapening your author brand? You got to ask yourself that question. The first aspect of this that I want to talk about is really mindset, okay? Now, again, I mentioned that on the last podcast I did, we talked about what encompasses your author brand, what creates your author brand. And it really is everything about you, everything that encompasses who you are as a person, your habits, your belief systems, the experiences that you had growing up, the way you express yourself, your sense of humor, your personality, all of this, your voice, of course, your physical voice, and the way that you, again, express yourself, not only verbally, but the way that you have expressed yourself in the style that you've written your book in. That is all the components. That's just part of the components, really. It really is everything that makes you you, because that's what makes you so unique. And that's what makes your book so unique. And that is why the people who discover you as an author and resonate with you as an author, they want to read your books because you resonate with them, okay? There's this symbiotic relationship between the people who read your book, right, and your followers, and you with them as well, bringing it all together. And this is why it is so important for you as an author to narrate your own audiobook, because that's all part of your author brand. And again, we talked about on that last podcast about embracing the fact that you are a professional. And this is all part of the mindset aspect too. You know, you got to love and embrace who you are as an author. You are a professional, whether you write for a living or maybe you wrote your book, nights and weekends, and you still have a day job, but that's okay because you wrote a book, you've dedicated the time and effort to do it, you have it published, you're a professional, you're not a hobbyist, okay? So embrace your professionalism and embrace your entrepreneurship. You are an entrepreneur, all right? And again, catchphrase time. Robert's catchphrases always throw these out. You are the CEO of you, which means that you're the boss, okay? So your author brand is you. Your products, of course, are your ebook, paperback, hardcover, and audiobook. And maybe you also offer some services, or maybe you have other products that are part of your author brand. You know, if you're a coach, or maybe you have a program that people can sign up for and work with you, being a coach, or maybe you have materials if you're an educator or a someone who, or even a poet, right? You have products that maybe you offer as part of your author brand. Maybe you have a workbook. Maybe you have, a mug, or a glass, or a cap, or something. You have all these products. Well, that's great because that is all part of your author brand. So the thing is, you don't want to cheapen your author brand. You understand now that you are a brand. That's who you are. Accepting and embracing your entrepreneurship and your professionalism as an author, loving and embracing the products that you create. And again, when it comes to asking that question, are you cheapening your author brand? The main thing you need to do is always go for it 100%, right? You always give your 100% no matter what. That is just, again, we're talking even from a mindset aspect. You got to give your 100% with everything that you do, because that is a representation of who you are and what makes you you. I'm going to throw out another, infamous Robert catchphrase, and that is procrastination equals stagnation. When you procrastinate, you're not moving forward. You're not moving your business forward. You're not moving your life forward, okay? That creates stagnation. And when you have stagnation and you're not moving forward, you are not expanding your author brand and your author business, because truly successful people have the mindset and they have the discipline of doing the work. You got to do the work. And that is so important. Now, when you published your book, I know you did the work. If you're a self-published author, I totally get it. I have been in the same shoes as you. I did a self-published book for Lights Action You, which is the book that I released a couple of years ago, which focuses on experiences from my 30 plus years in the entertainment business. But with each story, I tie in some tools and techniques that deal with life coaching and career coaching. And that's what that book was about. But when I was going to create this book, I wanted to make sure that I gave it my best. And I'm sure you did when you wrote your book. You gave it your best. I hired a book coach because I knew that there's somebody out there that resonated with me and I resonated with them. And we got together, we worked together because I knew that they would bring to the table a skill set and teaching me things that I didn't know that would make my book to be the best that I can possibly make it at that time when I wrote it. And we're always learning. We're always absorbing knowledge and skills to always better ourselves because that's what you do as an entrepreneur. And as an author, again, you are an entrepreneur. Remember, you are the CEO of you. So the decisions that you make for your business should be things that move your business forward. So the one thing to avoid in regards to cheapening your author brand is always doing the best that you can possibly do and never being afraid of doing the work. When you wrote your book, I'm sure you allocated time to work on the book. And this is something that I do with the authors that I work with in my audiobook coaching program. And that is allocating time to do your narration, to work on it, whether it's an hour or 2 hours a day or whatever it takes. And you hold yourself accountable. And the great thing about having a coach, whether you work with me as your audiobook coach and producer, or even when I had a book coach, they're my accountability partner, right? They helped me make sure that I stayed on track to make sure that I got the job done. And as a coach, that's my job to help you as an author who is narrating your own audiobook to make sure that you stay on track so that you're doing the best job that you can possibly do and the best audiobook narration that you can absolutely do. So you have to be willing to do the work and just embrace it, okay? Mindset is key. Mindset is such an important aspect of everything that you do with your business as an author and just in life in general. Remember, procrastination equals stagnation. Stagnation is not moving forward. You have to do things to move your business forward. Another thing is a lot of people always look for the easy way out. Now, the easy way out could mean just being lazy. And being lazy could be procrastination. Procrastination could be a tool that you're utilizing, a negative tool, I say, that you're utilizing to not do the work that you need to do because you're being lazy. All right, that's looking to have the easy way out. Now there are a lot of tools and techniques and apps and programs and things that are out there that can help you do things and make things easier for you as an author and especially as an audiobook coach and producer to help you do a great audiobook narration. There are things that you can do to make the process easier. But if you're just looking to do the easy way out, that's not the right approach. And you got to change that mindset. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, as an author, your author brand, you are a brand. You got to promote your brand. You got to embrace who you are as an author. You have these great products, your ebook, paperback, and hardcover, and now you want to take your book to the next level and you want to turn it into an audiobook. That is a great decision. That is a great decision. But you have to be willing to do the work and be disciplined. All right. We're going to take a quick break. I do want to dive into the audiobook aspect of it and just focus on that in the next segment. But we'll do that when we come back. And just again, mindset is key. That's the biggest thing I want you to take away from this. Mindset is key, and you always need to give your 100%. You're listening to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I am your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. You can go to robertlanecoaching.com to find out more about my audiobook coaching program. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Don't go away.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Oh, hey, we're back. Guess what? You know what I'm doing? I'm doing what I'm not supposed to be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and that's cutting corners. You don't want to cut corners when it comes to your author brand. You are listening to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. We are streaming live, by the way, on the Bold Brave TV network. I am your host, Robert A. Lane, and we're talking about how to not cheapen your author brand. Are you cheapening your author brand? Well, cutting corners is definitely one way for you to cheapen your author brand, and you don't want to do that. You definitely don't want to do that. So before we dive into the audiobook world, and I do want to talk about some things to avoid that will inevitably cheapen your author brand when you're doing your audiobook, I do want to mention this. I do have a freebie. I would love for you to download the Audiobook Narration Reference Guide that I give away for free. It's a PDF download that has some really cool tools and techniques on how to do a great audiobook narration, from the practical aspects to the intangibles, to the emotional and the energetic aspects, which are really important in regards to doing a great narration. So we have a graphic on the screen for those of you who can see the video portion of the podcast. bit.ly, the old bit.ly link, bit.ly/narration reference guide is the link. Go grab it. bit.ly/narration reference guide. It's a free guide. Download that. Have it with you. It's a really good piece of reference material. And again, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com. You'll see it right there on the home screen. You can download it from there as well. But just wanted to let you know that that is available to you. It's my gift to you, because I know that as a nonfiction author, and I say this all the time, and I stand by it 100%, and that is all nonfiction authors need to narrate their own audiobooks. Period. Hands down. Case closed. No exceptions. Because as a nonfiction author, nobody can tell your story better than you. Period. All right. So let's talk about things that can cheapen your author brand and cheapen the quality of your audiobook. Now, again, the number one reason, of course, as I just mentioned, for you to narrate your own audiobook is that no one can tell your story better than you. Not even the best narrator in the world can express your book the way that you would express it, because that's what makes, again, your author brand. That's what makes you so unique. And preserving the integrity of your author brand, preserving the uniqueness of who you are is crucial, because that's how you stand out. Right? You're in a saturated market, how are you going to stand out? By being your authentic self, always. Very important, very crucial. Okay. So when it comes to audiobooks, again, you need to narrate your own audiobook as a nonfiction author. Okay. As I mentioned, narrators are great. There are a lot of professional narrators out there who do fabulous work. But remember, it's still their interpretation as opposed to yours. They're going to interpret your book and narrate your book the way that they are interpreting it in their mind. So they may express it in a way that maybe that's not how you would say it. Or maybe that's not like you wouldn't emphasize this concept the way that they emphasized it. There's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of subtleties on how you present yourself and how you speak that another narrator is not going to be able to know. They just don't know, because that's what makes you you. That's why you are so unique, and that's why you really need to preserve that author brand integrity. Okay, so another thing that seems to be showing, or I would say rearing its ugly head, is AI. Okay, now there are aspects of AI that can be beneficial, but when it comes to audiobook narration, the biggest mistake that you can make for your author brand that will hands down cheapen your brand, lessen your expertise, lessen your creativity, or not creativity, credibility. That's the word I was looking for. Credibility is if you have some auto-generated computer voice narrating your audiobook. That's the worst thing that you can do. And that's taking the easy way out. And that is like what I was doing, cutting corners. Do not cut corners. Do not take the easy way out. You don't want to do that. Okay? You don't want to do that. You do not want to cheapen your author brand. All that hard work that you did in writing and publishing your book, going through the process and doing it right, especially if you're a self-published author, spending all that time and energy and blood, sweat, and tears and money and all that, and then you're going to do an audiobook and cut corners? God, don't do it. Because the audiobook world continues to grow and expand. And when we're talking by the year 2030 that it's going to be a $30 billion business worldwide. I mean, it's already, here's a stat, okay? In 2019, audiobook revenue sales actually surpassed ebook revenue in 2019. And guess what? That gap continues to widen. So people are really going for the audiobooks. They love their audiobooks. They go there first. And, again, you do have to be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple for sure. I mean, if you want to be on other distribution platforms, that's great if that fits into your marketing strategy. But you got to be on the AAA, Audible, Amazon, and Apple, because people ask for that by brand name. Okay, are you on Audible? Can I grab your book on Apple? Oh, I'm going to go to Amazon and see if I can get your audiobook. They ask for it by brand name. So you want to make sure that every aspect of your product is the best, the best. You don't want to cut corners. So again, AI is not going to do it. There are programs and companies out there that do cloning, like voice cloning, but it's still not you. Okay, and there are things that even companies that do that, and I'm not going to name names, but I'm very familiar with some of the more popular ones and what they do. The thing is that there are still subtleties and nuances of how you express yourself that it's not going to do it. You may be able to get something that sounds like you, but it's not you. When you remove the human element out of your author brand, you are cheapening your author brand because it's not you. That's what makes you unique. That's why I'm saying when you embrace your author brand, you embrace everything who you are, because everything that makes you, you is your author brand. When you strip something away, it is a misrepresentation of who you are. All right. Another thing that I see, and I've seen this, the virtual narrator, Kindle, KDP has been sending out, or they had been sending out emails to authors that publish the book through them to get on Kindle. And they're like, oh, use our virtual narrator. Again, first of all, it's not you. Secondly, it's not even a real voice. So again, so important for you to not cheapen your author brand by going the AI route. This is something that I mentioned at the beginning of the show. This is why successful people are successful, the ones that are, because they do the work. You got to be dedicated to doing the work. You can't just always go for, the quick and easy way out, because that is not beneficial to you and your brand. You have worked way too hard to create something that is just great, something that you're proud of. So why would you do an audiobook and not do it in the same fashion that, at the end of the day, you can look at that audiobook and go, you know what, man, I'm really proud of how I narrated that book. I am really proud of that. That is me. That is who I am. Let's see. Let me give you a couple examples of some authors that, I'm glad they didn't do any kind of AI or get another narrator. I worked with an author who shares her story about getting cancer and defeating it. It's a triumph, just such a triumphant story. And the way she expresses it just really hits your heartstrings. I'm currently working with an author right now who's sharing her story about getting pulled into a cult and the mind games and the brainwashing and the craziness that goes on with that. There's no way that AI can replicate those feelings, those emotions, those intangibles, those things you cannot touch, but you can emotionally feel. That gets stripped away if you're doing AI. And those subtle nuances and those subtle expressions of energy, especially in the book that I'm working on now, oh man, there's no way that can be expressed because she lived it. It's her story. There's no way that no one can express it the way that she did. And then the way that she is doing as she's going through the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. And just hearing her story and hearing her narration, she's doing such a fabulous job. And she's not a speaker. She's not a professional speaker, but she sounds fantastic because she's tapped into her inner soul, her inner energy, her inner emotion. And that's what comes through. And that's what's missing when you strip away the human element. Even if you're doing some kind of voice cloning with some companies that, sure, they may sound like you, but it's not you. And you're cheapening your author brand if you do that. So don't lose your credibility. You don't want people to not take you seriously because they're like, oh, this is an AI, it's an AI voice. Kind of sounds like them, or maybe you just go for any AI voice. Don't do it, okay? That's just my word of advice to you, all right? Okay, so that's something you really need to consider. When you're narrating your own audiobook, you're bringing to life your unique voice, which is already in your written word. When somebody grabs their book, right? They pick up your book and they start reading your book. And in their mind, they're hearing your voice. I mean, it happens to me all the time when I'm reading a book. I have this voice in my head that's in a sense narrating the book as I read it. So what better way is to having you as the author narrating your own audiobook so they actually hear you as the author tell the story instead of a fabricated voice in their head. You need to tell your story. And here's the other great thing about having your audiobook and about you narrating your own audiobook. First of all, of course, as I mentioned, and I'll mention a million times more because it is so important, that there is no one who can tell your story better than you. And you are the most qualified person to tell your nonfiction story. You are, period. But the great thing about it is that when people buy your audiobook, 9 out of 10 times, they're going to be interested in your other books if you have other books published. They're going to be interested even in the same book and in the other formats of your book. I do this all the time. When I listen to an audiobook, I want to grab the physical copy. I'll grab the paperback. I'll buy it in addition to the audiobook because I want to highlight things in there. If there's a phrase or a quote or a concept or something that really resonated with me, it's like I want to have that physical book and highlight it because it does help in regards to not only getting yourself into a market that you need to be in, because the audiobook world, as I said, is growing and expanding, but it also helps boost sales with the other formats of your book, ebook, paperback, hardcover, because it generates that interest of people wanting to get that ebook so they can carry it with them on their iPad or on their phone while they listen to it, or even have that physical copy to physically highlight like I do. There's a lot of people who do that. So those are things that are really important to keep in mind and why it is so important for you to narrate your own audiobook. All right. So basically, just to summarize, if you're going to narrate an audiobook, do it. Narrate your own audiobook because, again, nobody can express your book the way that you can. You lived it, you breathed it, you experienced it, you've written it. It's your voice. It's your unique voice. And remember, you are preserving the integrity of your author brand. Always, okay? So you don't need to have another narrator. You have what it takes. You have the skill set to do it. You really do. This is why I do what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, because I can show you how to do it and do it right and sound fan-frickin-tastic, period. All right. We're going to take a quick break. We will be back with more here on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. You can always visit my website at robertlanecoaching.com. And it'll go over, you'll see all the information about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. If you scroll down on that homepage, by the way, there are clips of some of the authors that I've worked with who have some audio clips. You can hear how they narrated their audiobook, and they all sound great. And that could be you. That could be you. All right, we will be right back. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Don't go away.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
And welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. I'm an audiobook coach and producer. It's what I do for a living. I love doing it. Love helping authors turning their great nonfiction books into audiobooks that you as the author narrate. It's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. Our topic today is the big question: are you cheapening your author brand? If you like to get involved in the show, as we are doing our stream live here, the podcast live, by all means, you can comment on the commenting section or give us a call. You can call us here on the show. There is a number on the screen at the top of the corner. Was it the top right corner? Or let me just give you the number as well. It is 866-451-1451. That's 866-451-1451. So I'm going to go over some key points again of things that may cheapen your author brand and things to avoid. But I'd love to hear from you as well. And you can again call or post in the comments things that you do to enhance your author brand. What are some things that you do to make your author brand even better than what it is? What are some things that you do? What are maybe the marketing strategies? Maybe there are other things that you do that really put you out there, that really show what a great author you are, what great products you have, what a great story you have to tell. We'd love to hear things that you do as well. So give us some of that positivity, right? We love that. All right, so here are just a few things just to keep in mind that you want to avoid when it comes to your author brand, because you don't want to cheapen your author brand. You are the expert in your field. You have authority, you have credibility. Having your book published is a great thing because it's like proof. You have physical proof that you are the expert in your field. And your book and your audiobook are great calling cards to getting speaking engagements and doing other things that can boost your author brand. Or there's another way of enhancing your author brand right there. Utilizing your book as a tool to do speaking engagements, to share your story and to touch other lives and transform other people's lives. I'm working with a coach right now that's helping me do exactly that as I go out and I do speaking engagements, not just about talking, how to do a great audiobook narration, but pulling from when I started Robert Lane Coaching was with life coaching and career coaching, and giving some really good inspirational and transformational keynotes that hopefully inspire people to do the best that they can in this world that we live in. So doing speaking engagements is a great thing. So that's, again, as I say, a great way to enhance your author brand. Okay, so things to avoid that can cheapen your author brand, and that is lack of authenticity is number one. You have to be authentic. Again, you have to be your authentic self. Don't try to be someone else. Don't try to sound like someone else. Don't try to follow the crowd. Society does things this way. So what? Be the rebel. Be the trendsetter. Be the person who stands out by being you, by being your authentic self. That's how you enhance your author brand. And if you cheapen your author brand, you're just following the crowd. You don't want to do that. Okay. What helps you stand out in a saturated market is being yourself, because that's what makes you so unique. And your uniqueness is why people are attracted to you as an author. And it's that uniqueness that does help you stand out. Okay. Inconsistent quality. You don't want that. All right. You have to be consistent. This consistency is really crucial, especially when you are doing your audiobook. When you're narrating your audiobook, you have to be consistent from opening credits to closing credits. You want to keep your listener engaged and just, wow, this was such a compelling narration. And they're just like on the edge of their seats, listening and hanging on to every word that you have to say when you're narrating your book. That's what makes a great audiobook narration. When, again, you're being your authentic self and you're being consistent. Now, there's two aspects of consistency. Of course, there's the practical, mic placement, keeping your levels consistent. But there's the other aspect, which are the intangibles, and that's the energy, that's the emotion. Those are the things, again, I know I've mentioned it earlier about the things that you can't maybe physically touch, but you can emotionally feel, because that really is the secret sauce. That is the key that makes a mediocre audiobook to one that's just like the greatest audiobook ever, because the author brings their unique style and their unique authenticity and their energy and their emotion and brings it to the table. and brings it to life. That's what makes a great audiobook. Okay, so you need to be consistent. So you want to make sure when you are recording your audiobook that the energy is consistent throughout. Now, of course, you're going to have ups and downs. That's just, that's story arcs. That's the energy, will go up and down from being really happy to something intense and emotional. It has that's storytelling, right? That's just storytelling. So let it come out, let it come out naturally, and let it come out authentically. And it will come out very conversational as well. So that's definitely the benefit of being consistent. So don't be inconsistent, because that can cheapen your brand. But when you are consistent, that enhances your author brand. And of course, what I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the podcast, you don't want to be lazy. You don't want to procrastinate. You don't want to cut corners, right? You don't want to always look for the easy way out. Just do the work. Do the work and be disciplined. Because really, those are the people who are incredibly successful. When you go and see your favorite band, I guarantee they spend hours and hours and hours and hours of rehearsing, because when you pay that ticket, and concert tickets aren't cheap, right? People pay hundreds of dollars for concert tickets because they want to be right in the front, because they want to see their favorite band. So they work hard. They do the work because, they want to be able to give you the best possible performance that they can possibly give you. And so they put in the work. And these are all things that you don't see behind the scenes, but they do it. And when you go out and you watch your favorite band play, you expect them to do it flawlessly. There may be a mistake here and there, but it's rare. It really is, because they do the work. They put in the work because they know that they want to give their 100%, because you expect them to give their 100%. And that same mentality, that same mindset is where you need to come from with your author brand. Always give your 100%. Don't cut corners. Do the work, right? Because when you present yourself in the best way possible, people will definitely respect you. They trust you. They know that you are presenting your authentic self, that you are the expert in your field, and that, again, you're not cutting corners, because there's your credibility, right? It's like the old adage of actions speak louder than words. Well, your book and the quality of your book and the quality of your audiobook speaks volumes. And that is, again, the representation of your author brand that you want. All right. So being authentic, not cutting corners, being consistent, all super, super important. Now, I know I talked a lot about not using AI for your audiobook. And again, I stand firm with that. But I don't want to just be here saying, oh, I'm just bashing AI, all the way. Don't ever use it. AI can be a useful tool when it comes to helping you develop and create your author brand. If you're using it as a tool, that's one thing. But if you're using it as a crutch that ends up cheapening your author brand because you don't want to do the work, that's bad. And that's the thing that you don't want to do. You need to, again, do the work, but you can utilize these tools to help you hone in something that you're working on. Maybe you need some ideas. Maybe you need some social media ideas. Maybe you have some concepts that you want to talk about because you want to do a keynote speech that's based on the nonfiction book that you published. Maybe you can go into ChatGPT and say, what are the 10 best concepts of whatever, and you type it in just to give you some ideas. But don't just take what spits back at you, right? You need to turn it into your own unique voice and your own unique style. And that's where being authentic comes in. You need to preserve your author brand, your integrity of your author brand, and be authentic. So you can take these ideas, and that's where you can utilize AI as a tool, but don't just use it as a crutch. All right. Again, do the work. As I said earlier, the most important and popular and successful people are the ones who do the work. They just do the work. They do the work. All right. Let's see. What else did I want to share with you? Let's see. I want to talk about that. Talk about the author brand, about consistency. That is important. Quality. In regards to quality, that is something that I did want to talk to you about. Something that can cheapen your author brand. Let's say you're like, you know what? That's great. I'm going to narrate my own audiobook. No problem. You have to, again, make sure that the equipment that you're using is high quality. All right. That is really crucial. And I'm going to talk more about equipment and the quality of equipment and things that you need to do to make sure when you are recording and narrating your audiobook that it sounds the best that you can possibly make it. We're going to talk about that after we take this last break. You're listening to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Don't go away because I do have some more important information I want to share with you.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
And we're back here on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. Before I dive into, I do want to talk to you about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. And I mentioned about making sure that your equipment is professional, which is why I want to talk about the program, because I do provide that for you. But before I dive into that, again, I want to put up that graphic again about the freebie, about the audiobook narration reference guide that I offer to you. This is something that can really help you with your audiobook narration, both practical and emotional tools and techniques that you can utilize to help you do a great audiobook narration. So download this guide. It's for free. It's my gift to you. You can go to bit.ly/narration reference guide. That's bit.ly/narration reference guide. Download that and enjoy it, and hopefully it'll help you with your audiobook narration. Now, I did mention about making sure you're not cutting corners in regards to the equipment you use for recording your audiobook narration. Okay, so in the program that I teach, the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, I provide you with the professional equipment that you need to set up your own recording space. And I'm not talking about, cheapy $100, $150 microphones and headphones and that kind of thing. I mean, we're talking high quality equipment, that thousands of podcasters use. It's the same microphone, same headphones, all that stuff is part of the program that you get when you enroll into the audiobook coaching program, and the equipment's yours to keep. So again, as I say, I don't cut corners. I don't believe in cutting corners. I don't believe you as an author should cut corners. And when it comes to recording and narrating your own audiobook, you've got to have the best equipment, and I provide that for you. And I teach you how to set up your own recording space. Because another thing that's great about setting up your own recording space in your own room, in your own office, is that it's on your timeline. You don't have the pressure of having to find a studio, rent a studio, and go and record and just hope that you're having a great day to accomplish everything that you need to accomplish in recording your audiobook narration for your book. If you're having a bad day, your voice isn't sounding good, you're making a lot of mistakes, there's that pressure of, man, I only have 15 more minutes and I have like 2 more chapters. I'm never going to get this done. So that stress, that anxiety, that pressure, that's not good for narration. Okay, so you don't want to be in that kind of situation. So in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, I provide the equipment for you and teach you how to set up your own recording space and how to do it right. And that way it just alleviates all that pressure. Of course, the next phase of it is going over in detail about how to do a great narration, how to be authentic, how to be conversational, knowing who you're talking to when you're doing your narration and bringing out your best. And again, you do work with me one-on-one throughout the program, and there's video lessons as well for you to watch that will help you throughout the process. And there's downloadable information, guidelines, reference materials. It's all there for you as part of the program. And we do meet on a weekly basis. And I do make myself available for you because this is my VIP program. I do make myself available for you via text, via email. As you're recording your audiobook, you have an issue, you have a question, just shoot me a text, shoot me an email, and I will respond right away, 7 days a week, because I want to make myself available to you as your coach and audiobook producer to help you throughout the entire process. And then once your audiobook's recorded, I do all the uploading for you for publication in Audible, Amazon, and Apple, and on any other distribution platforms you want to be on. So you don't even have to worry about that. So you're guaranteed 100% to be published, no issues. You own everything. This is your audiobook. Nobody takes any percentage of your sales. It's all you, all right? You own it outright. And that's just a quick overview about the audiobook coaching program and how important it is to be not only your authentic self, but to do the best that you can possibly do. So again, are you cheapening your author brand? You're definitely not if you work with me in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, because I want to make sure that the only thing that you're concerned about is just doing a great narration. What I do in the program, I do all the audio post editing for you because your audiobook needs to be edited, cleaned up, and most importantly, made sure that it meets the exact specifications for publication. Because if it doesn't, your audiobook will be rejected. And I've seen that happen. I've seen authors who have come to me to help them with their audiobook and go, you know what? I went to a supposedly professional studio, and when they uploaded, or when I tried to upload my audio files for publication, I got rejected. Audible wouldn't take it. Amazon wouldn't take it. And so you don't want that to happen, right? Remember, you've got to not cut corners, and I won't allow any corner cutting. That's not part of the program. All right, so if you are interested in learning more, and I would love to speak with you and get into more detail about the program and how you can have your audiobook narrated, recorded, and published by the end of the 6-week program, because that's all it takes. And remember, you do have what it takes, and no one on that planet is you, which means no one can tell your story better than you can. It's your nonfiction book. It's your story. You need to narrate it. If you want to schedule a call, by all means, please do. You can schedule a free audiobook consultation call. And all you have to do is go to bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. That is my personal calendar. Book a call. No obligation. Just book a call. Let's have a chat. And if it resonates with you, we'll get you enrolled. It's that simple. bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. I'd love to speak with you and find out more about your book anyway. All right. So that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this edition of the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. We don't want you to cheapen your author brand. We want you to enhance it. We want you to go out there and show the world what an awesome author you are, what an awesome story you have to share, and would definitely love to have you as the author narrate your own audiobook, because people need to hear you tell your story the way that you intend it to be heard. All right. And my last assignment for you, my friends, is this. When you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger, say hello to them, maybe give them a compliment, because that 5 or 10 seconds of time that it took you just to smile, say hello, maybe give that compliment, that can make a world of difference in somebody's life, because maybe they're just having a bad day. And a stranger doing something kind, it's a great thing. It's a beautiful thing. And what I want you to do is be beautiful human beings, because we need to share more positivity in this world, right? Yeah, you bet we do. All right. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane. Go to robertlanecoaching.com. That's robertlanecoaching.com. You'll find out more information about the audiobook coaching program. You can book your call there. You can download that free PDF of the Audiobook Narration Reference Guide. It's all there on the homepage. Check it out. Listen to the clips of the authors that have done their audiobooks, because that can be you, and you will do a great job, whether you have speaking experience or not. And that's why I'm here to help you with. All right. So with that, my friends, have a great week. We'll be talking to you next week on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. We're streaming live here on the Bold Brave TV network. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be talking to you soon. Take care.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.